Hello, Darcy, and welcome to Triple Threat Western Radio.
Hello, hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing real good. Thank you for joining me this evening.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
So let's go ahead and begin. We're definitely going to talk about the fact that you are the women's champion for Resistance Pro, which I've become a huge fan of. Out
Awesome.
there in the Midwest, they're doing big things. They got some high caliber talent there. We'll definitely get into that momentarily.
Okay.
But let's focus on you first. What made you decide to be a professional wrestler?
You know, people ask me that all the time, and I have yet to really be able to put that into words, really. Um, I don't know. It's something that I wanted to do, and I can't explain really why, but I couldn't imagine not doing it now. It's just kind of, I feel like it was something I was born to do. I think um, a lot of it has to do with I just really when I was younger I took gymnastics, and when you it was kind of like the physical challenge of that was something that was embedded in me, like um, when I was young. And then also I kind of like violence, so it's a way for me to do both of those things at the same time.
That definitely makes sense. You know
Yeah.
the gymnastics and the violence with all that athleticism. I mean, it,
It was just perfectly, it was just made for someone like me who enjoys being athletic and violent at the same time.
well, that's definitely a message well sent to anyone who wants to underestimate you. You will not hesitate to back down against any person, male or female. Uh,
No, I'm not going to back down, be that smart or not. It's just not going to happen. Maybe I should sometimes, but I'm just not going to.
well put. So, do you remember the first wrestling match that you had? And if so, who was your opponent or opponents? And what company did you work for?
My very first wrestling match was against Jamie Jameson for WrestleForce, and it was in Columbia, South Carolina.
And how did you feel heading into the match? And how did you feel after the match was all said and done? Did you?
I was really excited to finally have my first match because although I had my first match pretty soon after I started training, it wasn't something that I really waited a long time on. I had like a couple of matches scheduled before, and just things happened where they just didn't work out. Um, Actually, crazy stories, but then when I finally had my first match, I was pretty excited. But it was a very, it wasn't long. It was short, sweet, and simple. And I feel like I did the best that I could for the match, and I didn't come like away from it disappointed in myself at all. Although, it being my very first match, there were lots of things that could have went better. It was still like a very positive experience. Um, One cool thing that happened is my trainer at the time actually was a special guest referee, so that helped with the nerves a little bit. Like him being in the ring.
Who do you consider your toughest opponent that you have had? I mean, it could be male or female or anyone particular. Who do you consider your toughest opponent that you've ever had a match against?
Well, that's easy. My toughest opponent I've ever had a match again would have to be the Amazing Kong, because I mean, let's just be honest, she's the toughest opponent I've ever had. So that would be an easy one. Now, I did have a match where Jay Bradley hit me with his boomstick, and that wasn't an easy thing to deal with, but I would still have to go with the Amazing Kong being the toughest.
Calm, I mean, Karma. I guess that's what she goes by now. I
Mhm.
mean, she's incredible. and intimidating at the same time. I guess I mean if she's not up there against anyone's toughest opponent, I mean you give me someone who's tough in the calm. The
Well,
calmer.
that's one other thing where I don't know. Nobody else that I've ever wrestled can be offended by the fact that I didn't say them, because that's just a very cut and dry, easy one to say. It's definitely her, and she is intimidating. Um, I'm not saying that I get intimidated, but if I were to get intimidated, it would be by her. And I have a lot of respect for her as well. So, yeah, and definitely when you step into the ring with someone that's accomplished what she has, you put even more pressure on yourself because you want to step up to their level.
Now, obviously, you are the current Resistance Pro Women's Champion.
I am.
And for the listeners that may not be familiar with the company, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about Resistance Pro and what y'all bring to the table in the wrestling world?
Well, I'm going to paraphrase some of the things that the owners, which are Jacques and Gabe Barron, and then, of course, Billy Corgan is the creative director for the company. And the way that they describe their vision for the company is really they want it to be, I'm trying to think of the exact word I want to use. They want it to be a showcase of talent on the indie scene right now who have something about them that they feel like could take them to the next level. And so they try to find talent that they really see something in and believe in and get behind, and then they just try to, I know Billy, being the creative director, he just tries to give people like something that they don't normally get to see, and they like to have it like kind of like a carnival type atmosphere where every single match may not appeal to every person, but there's going to be something in the show for everyone. And so I feel like so far they've been able to really have some shows with a lot of different variety of talent. And, it's just a really good atmosphere. I love going up to Chicago. I live in North Carolina, so it's quite a hike, but I love going up there because it really is sort of like a family type atmosphere where everyone there really wants to be there. There's not a lot of drama. It's just about putting on the best show that we can and doing the best that we can.
Not only does it showcase the up and coming indie pro talent, it also you get to see it has a list of who's who that were big stars from the WWE, for TNA, to Impact, to ECW, WCW, so forth. You got talent.
Yeah, and I would have to say like that's one of the cool parts about it is I don't know if they've just been really fortunate or if it's I've been lucky, but I've been able to. It seems like every person, every big name or someone that brings that notoriety to the table on the shows has been incredibly nice, and I've been able to talk to, get feedback from, and just learn from. And so, like, sometimes I just think, I'm like, wow, I actually had an opportunity to have a conversation with that person and get their feedback, and they actually know, this is a talented person that I've had an opportunity to come in contact with and learn from. And that's one of the things that I feel like Resistance Pro has offered me is just the names that they bring in. But another thing about it is you don't, everybody gets treated the same at the same time. The people who have, the big names that come in definitely get their respect that they deserve. But it's such a great atmosphere there that it kind of feels like everyone is important. Everyone is an important piece of the puzzle up there.
And it's definitely a good feeling when, those big names, I mean, that just shows that they like what the company brings to the table, and they want to be a part of that atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good atmosphere, and I haven't been wrestling for an incredibly long time, but I've done enough shows to be able to feel when there's a definite positive vibe going on, and that's what I feel when I'm up there.
How does it feel at this particular moment to be the women's champion for the company?
You know, it's kind of a surreal feeling for me because actually my very first match or very first show I ever had the opportunity to be on was with Resistance Pro, which is like kind of crazy if you think about it. My story is definitely not, I guess, a cookie cutter story. I don't know if there is one in professional wrestling, but I feel like mine is definitely different. And I would say, like, the very first show I did with Resistance, I was just managing, and you know, I was there with the other girls that they had booked. Because we shared a locker room, and I was just thinking, wow, it would be amazing if one day I could have a match for them. And so, like, going from, and the company hasn't been around, I guess it's maybe a year and a half now, maybe a little over a year and a half. It was November 25th, what was that, 2010 or 2011, I guess is when they debuted. And for me to be able to actually go from just thinking it would be awesome for them to have a match for them and to then be the champion. That's what I look back on, and it's, to me, it's on a big scale. I don't know how other people would look at it, but for me, that's a huge accomplishment, what I've gone through from my first show there into getting the belt. To me, I don't know if I'll ever do anything in wrestling that means as much, just due to the fact that that was when I very first started to getting the belt for that company. And even if if they closed tomorrow, there was never another Resistance Pro show, and I continued my career and I was super successful, I still feel like winning that belt, I don't know if anything else is going to compare to that for me.
From manager to women's champion, talk about full circle. And I
thought I could do it. For some reason, I was like, you know what, I could do this. And I guess, I went about proving myself right.
Well, I can honestly say that you do have a bright future in this business. I have seen your matches from only on YouTube. I haven't seen you in person, but I've seen your matches on YouTube, and I like what I see. You definitely on your way to big time. I truly believe, and being part of Resistance Pros is big. It's huge, and I just wish you many success going forward. I mean, you're on your way up there, Miss Dixon.
Well, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in your career, and a lot of it, is based on things that you can't control. And so, my goal is just to be good. I want to become the best wrestler that I can be, and I feel like as long as I keep striving towards that, I'll be successful.
So, if you can have a dream match against any person, it could
Easy,
be
Beth Phoenix.
Oh, you beat me to it.
No, I don't even have to think about that. That's easy. Easy. I don't even have a second choice on there because she's really the only one.
What do you like the most about Beth Phoenix?
Everything. That she is alive. I like her because, well, for one, I like her physique, and I know that sounds kind of weird, but she's a muscular woman, and I like, that's how I like to look myself. And I feel like she was so successful based solely on her talent. I don't think I never felt like she was going to the lowest common denominator as far as appealing, being overtly sexual or anything such as that. No, there's nothing wrong with that, but if that's your thing, but it's not my thing. And I just like to see her be successful just based on being a strong female. And that, to me, is just amazing. Not to mention she's extremely talented. I love watching her matches. I always say, I'm kind of sad because I love watching her wrestle. like I lose myself in her matches, and I actually can see, like, I will get, when she loses, I'll be angry, like, and that doesn't happen very much. So I get emotionally involved. Well, I'd say, like, I guess I should say past tense because she's retired, but so just that, like, being like a little kid watching her, and that's something that you can't really explain or you don't know why, but that's part of what it is. It's just like, maybe there's no explanation behind it, but when I watch her matches, I really want her to win. And if she doesn't, I think that something went wrong.
You know, we all been through that. You know, it's like rooting for your favorite sports team. You just wanted to win every single game, and you know, when they win, they get happy. When you lose, it's like, oh no, it's just
Yeah, and I think that's why I can't explain exactly why I like her, because that's something you can't really explain. You can't explain why you get caught up in someone else and why they can make you believe and why they make you have an emotional connection to them. That's just something that happens. I don't think there's an explanation for it, but she definitely with her, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that she's just like a strong, badass female, and I like that about her. Plus, she's gorgeous. So, I mean, she could definitely play any role, but I like the fact that she was always just a very strong, presence.
she was definitely a presence indeed, and like you, I miss her. I hope she's living a happy life, and who knows, maybe she'll have the itch to get back to wrestle again. I mean, you know what they say in the wrestling business, never say never. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. Um,
Yeah, that match may not ever happen, but if I could choose, if I could wave a magic wand, that's definitely who it would be.
my last question is for anyone out there that wants to. Well, Betty, I got two more questions. The last question is, why don't you go ahead and promote your up and coming matches and shows you have coming up?
Okay. Well, the next match I have on June 15th, I believe it's going to be in Calhoun Falls, South Carolina for WrestleForce, and I will be facing Miss Jessie K. And then I am going to be in Memphis for MLW the 22nd. And then after that, I'm going to be in Villa Rica, Georgia. And that's going to be on July 6th. And July 26th is my next match up for our pro. So those are the next few things I have planned out. And I'm really super excited about all my matches, but really excited to get back up into Chicago and see what my first match back as champion is going to be like.
That is awesome. And you brought up Magnificent Ladies Wrestling. I've been a fan of them. I've been a fan of their work, and there's been a whole lot of talk about them shutting down after June the 22nd. And I'm not sure if you heard the news or not, but they're not going anywhere after June 22nd. One of the wrestlers is now going to be in charge of the company after June 22nd. Her name is...
Which one? Like, I heard that, but I haven't been able to get the specific information. Do you know which wrestler?
That will be Destiny.
Destiny. Oh, she's awesome.
Yes, she'll. So after June 22nd, she'll be in charge of Magnificent Ladies Wrestling. Thomas.
Well, that's definitely good news. I'm looking forward. I've only been there one other time, and I had a great experience. I met a lot of awesome girls, and I'm excited to go back.
So that's great news that you're going to be there, and it's great news that they're not going anywhere, and that Destiny's now in charge going forward. It's just great news all around. And my last question is, how can people get in touch with you social media-wise, Facebook, Twitter, any other links people need to know?
Well, my Twitter is at D_RC Dixon. So it's D'arcy Dixon, but with a little underscore where my apostrophe would be if they would let you put an apostrophe. And then Facebook is just D'arcy Dixon. You just got to put my apostrophe in, and I should pop up.
Well, D'arcy, it was great talking to you. Thank you for being on the show, and congrats on being the champion. And best of success goes out to you, and you're welcome to be back on this show anytime.
Anytime, you know. I mean, you can probably tell. I will talk about myself as long as somebody will listen.
Hey, I'm all ears, so
Right.
thank you for your time, D'arcy.
All right,
You
well,
have a
thank
good
you
night.
for having me. I really appreciate it.
You have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was the Resistance Pro